Productivity is one of the most misunderstood words in the modern business world. We have turned it into a badge of honor, a competition, a measure of worth. The person who sleeps the least, works the most, and replies to emails at midnight is celebrated as the gold standard. And yet that same person is usually the first to burn out, the first to lose their edge, and the first to wonder why, despite all the effort, the results have stopped growing. Today, we are going to dismantle that myth entirely and replace it with something far more powerful. A way of operating that does not just make you productive, but makes you dangerously productive. The kind of productive that feels effortless, that compounds over time, and that is built on the most sophisticated performance system ever designed, your own biology. Let us start with something that surprises most people. Stress is not your enemy. I want you to sit with that for a moment, because everything in our culture tells us the opposite. But the truth is, stress is simply energy. And like all energy, what determines its impact is not its presence, but its direction. When you face a deadline and your mind frames it as a challenge, that stress becomes a catalyst. It sharpens your focus, elevates your drive, and mobilizes your resources. But the moment that same deadline is framed as a threat, the chemistry shifts entirely. The body moves into survival mode. The prefrontal cortex, the seat of your best thinking, goes offline, and you are left grinding through the day on adrenaline and anxiety. The secret is not to eliminate stress. The secret is to change the conversation around it. When you shift the language from "this is overwhelming" to "this is an opportunity to perform," you redirect that same biological energy toward your highest output. That single shift can transform not just your own performance, but the entire culture of how a team operates. And speaking of biology, let us talk about something that the most productive people on the planet have understood for decades. Yet most organizations still treat as an afterthought: movement. We were not designed to sit still for 8 hours and think our way to brilliance. We were built to move, and movement is not just good for the body, it is essential for the brain. When you exercise, your brain produces new cells through a process called neurogenesis and releases a cascade of neurochemicals that elevate mood, sharpen focus, and unlock creative thinking. You do not need a gym membership or an hour of your morning to access this. A walking meeting, a 10-minute stretch between deep work sessions, a brief movement break in the middle of the afternoon. These are not indulgences. They are biological investments in your cognitive performance. And here is what most people miss. It is not the grand effort that creates the shift. It is the small, consistent act. A 5-minute walk taken every single day rewires the brain's expectation of movement, and that rewiring compounds into something extraordinary over time. Move the body and you move the mind. But movement without the right fuel is like driving a high-performance vehicle on the wrong grade of petrol. What you put into your body determines the quality of the energy your body produces, and the quality of that energy determines everything about how you think, decide, and lead. The shift here is not about counting calories or following the latest nutritional trend. It is about choosing food that serves your biology. Fresh, nutrient-dense, whole foods that sustain your energy across the full arc of your day, rather than processed options that spike your glucose and leave you crashing by mid-afternoon. Your relationship with food is also shaped by the stories you tell yourself about it. When you eat with awareness and intention, when you slow down enough to actually taste what you are consuming and listen to what your body is asking for, you stop eating from habit or emotion and start eating from intelligence. Pair that with consistent hydration throughout the day, and you have addressed two of the most common and most overlooked causes of cognitive decline in high performers. The brain is approximately 75% water. Even mild dehydration measurably impairs concentration and decision-making. Fuel your body with intention, and your mind will reward you with clarity. All of that fuel and movement means very little if you are not recovering properly, because recovery is not a pause in productivity. It is where productivity is actually built. Sleep is the most powerful biological restoration process available to you, and it is completely free. During deep sleep, your body releases growth hormone, repairs cellular damage, consolidates memory, and processes the emotional weight of the day. When you chronically deprive yourself of that process, your brain stays wired, reactive, and unable to access the deeper thinking where your best ideas live. Protecting sleep and scheduling genuine breaks is not weakness. It is the most strategic thing a high performer can do. Extraordinary performance is not built on action alone. It is sustained through rhythm, and rhythm must include rest. Woven through all of this is breath, one of the most immediate and underutilized performance tools available. Under pressure, most people stop breathing properly, without even noticing. The breath becomes shallow and chest level, activating the sympathetic nervous system and keeping the body in a low-grade state of emergency for hours. 3 slow, deliberate, diaphragmatic breaths interrupt that cycle completely. The nervous system shifts. The mind clears. The body moves from threat into readiness. This is not a wellness concept. This is neuroscience. The most significant driver of your productivity is not physical at all. It is the frequency of your thoughts. Your thoughts are not just abstract mental events. They carry energy, and that energy shapes your experience of reality. Positive, intentional thinking does not just feel better. It attracts aligned experiences, aligned people, and aligned outcomes. You carry a unique frequency that others sense even if they cannot name it. It is in your posture, your presence, the subtle shifts in how people respond when you enter a room. Think of yourself as a radio, constantly broadcasting a signal. Life responds to that signal. The language that carries those thoughts matters just as deeply. The words you repeat most often create chemical patterns in your body. They are not neutral. Self-talk is not background noise. It builds who you are. When you habitually say, "I am overwhelmed," your nervous system responds as though you are under siege. But when you replace that with, "I am managing my priorities," the body calms, the mind clears, and your capacity to act expands. Your vocabulary is a biological instruction set, and you have the power to rewrite it at any moment. Be careful how you speak to yourself, because you are always listening. When you believe you can succeed and train yourself to view setbacks as data rather than defeat, you engage the brain's neuroplasticity, its extraordinary ability to rewire itself in response to new experiences and beliefs. Every time you return to a practice, every time you choose a supportive thought over a destructive one, you are literally reshaping the architecture of your brain. Repetition is the mother of skill. It is also the mother of identity. You become what you do most consistently, and none of this operates in isolation. True, dangerous productivity emerges when these elements work together as one integrated system. Movement supports sleep. Sleep supports emotional regulation. Emotional regulation supports clear thinking. Clear thinking supports intentional language. Intentional language supports self-belief. When all 6 pillars, movement, nutrition, breathing, hydration, sleep, and mindfulness, are aligned, something remarkable happens. You stop relying on willpower. Productivity stops being something you force and starts being something you embody. That is the secret. Not a better to-do list. Not another productivity app. Not another hour stolen from your sleep. The secret is alignment. Deep, biological, psychological alignment between who you are and how you operate. When you are aligned, you are not just productive, you are dangerously productive. And that changes everything. Your micro victory today is simple. Choose one pillar, just one, and make a single, deliberate shift. Drink an extra glass of water. Take a 10-minute walk. Swap one phrase that diminishes you for one that serves you. Small shifts, compounded with intention, are how extraordinary performance is built from the inside out. You are not broken. You are not behind. And you do not need to push harder. You need to align deeper. When your biology, your mindset, and your daily practices are working together, productivity is not something you chase. It becomes something you radiate. Until next time, this is Michael Abdallah.